Hello, MCU fans. Today is going to be my breakdown of the new Venom: The Last Dance trailer. And of course, the Venomverse is in a separate universe from the MCU, but they're tied together thanks to No Way Home, which we'll definitely be discussing during the breakdown. So without further ado, let's dive right in and see what we can find out. Don't forget, we have a June contest running all month long. Be a subscriber, leave a comment. You could win a book or a steelbook. Best of luck. And we have a membership option in case you'd like to help me with my goal of doing this full time one day. But honestly, no matter how you support the channel, it's all greatly appreciated. Leaving comments, liking videos, and subscribing, those things go a long way too. So thank you so much. So I think one thing that's really important to understanding this trailer is to take a brief look back at the Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene and the Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene. So we're going to start with Venom Let There Be Carnage, where we see Eddie in this, pretty much dingy hotel in his normal universe, his home universe, which we learn is 688 from Across the Spider-Verse, because they give us that numbering when Spot shows up in front of Mrs. Chin. So, okay, so he's in 688, and then, boom, Doctor Strange's spell, the first spell, pulls him into 616. Notice he is in a variant version of the hotel, because it's much prettier, doesn't look so dingy. And then as he looks up and heads over to the TV screen, we know it's 616 because that's Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Of course, we then get the idea that he's going to fight Spider-Man, that Venom's going to show up in No Way Home because he seems like he really wants to go after him. But of course, in No Way Home, we find out, nope, Eddie spends the entire time in a bar in Mexico. Such an Eddie thing to do. So, really keep an eye on this outfit he's wearing, Hawaiian shirt, and then a green undershirt, because we're going to see it, throughout the whole trailer. All right, so he's talking to this bartender. Bartender's sharing things about Thanos and everything that's been happening in 616, and then suddenly, Eddie's transported back to his home universe, 688, thanks to the second Doctor Strange spell, and the poor bartender is left, having to pay for Eddie's alcohol because Eddie's gone, right? And while the bartender is complaining, we pan down and we see a little bit of Venom goo has been left behind. All right, so those are the two post-credit scenes that lead, I believe, directly into this scene from the trailer, because we see Eddie wandering around aimlessly in Mexico. You can tell it's still Mexico by, the buildings, but also the graffiti there on the wall, and he's wearing the same outfit. Too funny. And then there's another shot. You can see that's the same shirt and the same T-shirt. So then he gets himself in a little bit of trouble with these dudes. Venom has to come out to help. Notice Eddie's wearing Crocs. I love that, as Venom is transforming on his other foot there. And then, yes, Eddie and Venom both have some fun with these dudes, and Venom has a little bit of head-biting action as he finishes them off. Okay, so it's really clear that we go Venom Let There Be Carnage, straight over to No Way Home, and then straight back to this movie. So I'm going to look at my overall Spider-Man timeline that I've been putting together, and you can check out the longer video on this if you want to know all the details behind this. But let's focus on the Venom universe, the 688. Which is basically Venom, Morbius, Venom Let There Be Carnage, and then, of course, now Venom: The Last Dance. So the real question was, when did this happen in Venom's timeline? We know in the main MCU it was November of 2024, but when did it happen in Venom's timeline? In other words, how much of a gap was there between Let There Be Carnage and this happening? I think we can now say there was no gap. That it is right after the movie. And the reason these are placed in 2020 is there are tons of hints and clues in the Venom and the Morbius movies that it's around the 2018 to 2020 timeframe. So I guess then that means The Last Dance is also November 2020 because it picks up right after that. In that case, I'm just going to scrunch this all together here, and it does show the point that different universes can have different present days. And I talk about that a lot in some of the other videos. I don't have an issue with this, but I do wonder, are they going to give us any timeline hints that retcon this, into 2024, or are they going to keep it in the 2020 timeframe? Cannot wait to see the movie and find out. But anyway, that's the overall timeline that I believe we're seeing. Okay, so this is important. I think Eddie was caught on camera when he came back to 688. In fact, here they are watching a grainy, footage of him probably walking out of the bar or somewhere near the bar. Because that's why I think they then track down the bar and end up finding, wait a minute, some goo? That's a little confusing, right? Because the goo was in 616. So are we now in 616 or 688? Well, I think there's a lot of answers to the question. So first of all, we need to talk about, though, the actor catching the goo. Is that Mordo? Is that Mordo? No, I do not think it's Mordo. It's not Mordo in 616 for sure, but it's definitely not a Mordo version of Venom's universe of 688. It is instead, I think, Orwell Taylor, who's a character from the comics who basically had a vendetta against Venom because one of his sons was killed by Venom, and so he's gone after him in hot pursuit. So I think that's the character, but I guarantee it's not Mordo. It's confusing, though, because it's the same actor. Why, Sony? Why are you making us confused? But is this the same bartender? Now, that's an interesting question, right? Because that's what the bartender looked like in No Way Home. I mean, he's wearing the same shirt even. His hair's down, but it could have been in a bun in the other scene. I don't think it's the same bartender, and we're going to talk about why in a moment. I think it's a variant of him in Venom's universe in 688. It is the bartender of 688, but we'll talk more about that and tie this all together in a second. Is it the same bar? No, I definitely don't think it's the same bar, because if you look over Orwell's shoulder and you can see like a paddle, like an oar against the wall, well, this is what we saw over Eddie's shoulder. And I realize it could be two different parts of the bar. I get that, but I really think they intentionally made the bar look different. The design, the lighting, etc., is very different. So what exactly has happened here? What are they trying to tell us? Well, I think the movie will make it really clear, but this is my guess. So this is my universal model, my multiversal model, as I've shown many, many times, that when you have separate universes, like 616 versus 688, they each have a different origin point, they have their own Infinity Stones, etc. But here's the key. So Eddie in 616 was in a bar, right? At the end, and he dropped a little bit of goo in 616. I think then when Doctor Strange's spell sent him back to 688, he dropped some more goo. I mean, he seems to be like stress sweating his goo in both 616 and 688. That's confusing at first because you're like, wow, he's dropping goo everywhere. But I think that's what happened. I mean, they never explained why he dropped it in 616, right? So whatever it was also caused him to do it in 688, and that's what they're capturing here. Let me know your thoughts, but I think it is not as confusing as it seems at first. I think it's just we're seeing snippets of the movie in a trailer, and it'll make more sense when we see the actual movie. But that's what I think happened. All right, so then the question is, are we seeing the Life Foundation here? You know, there's this top secret thing. They drive through this wall of sand. That's pretty wild. And we get to this, fallout shelter type hidden base somewhere. Well, in the comics, there is a Life Foundation group which tried to create a utopia, kind of made a fallout shelter area so that you could survive no matter what. And they were always looking out for ways to make sure that they could keep this utopia safe. So I think that's important. Whether it's a Life Foundation or not, it certainly looks like it from the comics at least. And that would mean that Orwell and others, the blonde lady who, I'm not sure who she's playing, but I think she's going to be a very important character, they work for the Life Foundation. They're keeping it running. All right, fine. What are they doing? Well, it looks like they're creating new symbiotes. If you count them, there's one on the far left, then 2, 3, and then as the camera pans around, we see yet another one on the far right. So there's at least 4 symbiotes. So what is going on here? Why are they creating new symbiotes? And in fact, how are they creating new symbiotes? Well, I do think, one thing's for certain, that these symbiotes may end up bonding with some of the members of the Life Foundation, because we see this shot with this poor lady, very distressed, and I'm wondering if it's tied to this, where they've got on their containment suits and she seems to be locked behind a door. But my guess is these symbiotes, similar to the comics, will bond with several members, including maybe Orwell himself, but also the blonde and then the lady there in the room. So in the comics, at least, the symbiotes that they end up creating are Scream, Lasher, Riot, Agony, and Phage. So some pretty cool looking symbiotes. Will we get all 5 of them? I don't know, but we saw at least 4. So we may get all 5 of these, or at least several of them, in the movie. That'd be very cool. All right, so how are they creating them? Well, in the comics, they created them off of Venom. I'm wondering, though, in the movie, if they've captured Detective Patrick Mulligan. You might remember him from the the second movie, Venom Let There Be Carnage. And at the end of the movie, they definitely teased that he was infected with a symbiote because his eyes turned blue, and a lot of people guessed that he was going to turn into Toxin. So if they have captured him, he may be the one that's allowing them to steal some of the symbiote and to create those other symbiotes. Because I don't think Venom's been captured yet, and I'll talk about why as we get further into the trailer. In fact, here we see another shot of the detective, and notice his eyes are glowing. So, yeah, they're definitely using him, I think, to create those symbiotes. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on that. Why are they doing it, though? Well, we get that tease because Venom says at one point, Eddie, my own has found us. And I think his own is referring to some of the other symbiotes in the hive mind, some of the other symbiotes from his planet that are coming to, to take him back, to bring him back home again. So I think that Toxin is able to learn about these because he's part of the hive mind as well. He knows what they're thinking, and that's why Orwell is aware of them. Orwell's saying there's an army coming that cannot be beaten. So I think he's learned about these symbiotes coming to Earth, just like Venom has, and he learned about them through Toxin. Because again, I just don't think they've captured Venom quite yet, but yet he seems aware of this army. So he does decide to go after Venom at some point. Let's go get him, and then we see his troops heading after Venom. So speaking of, where is Eddie and Venom? We haven't talked about him for a bit. Well, notice he's still wearing the same shirt, and I think he's wandering the desert in Mexico somewhere. And then, of course, we see Venom there with him. Because at some point, Orwell catches up to him. That looks really cool. He and his whole crew, which in the comics at least was called the Jury, they had kind of like super suits. I don't think they're going that direction with the super suits, but definitely these are the folks that Orwell's using to capture Venom, because we see Venom, Eddie, jumping in the water. Notice he's still got his Hawaiian shirt. And this is important. Now he's wet. Kind of keep that in mind, because I do think that helps us place some of the chronology of the trailer. Then he gets attacked by the Jury, and we see them firing on Venom. And if you just watch the trailer, you kind of get a feeling like, oh, I bet they captured him here. But I'm guessing he gets away, because look at him here, he's drenched. His hair's wet, his shirt is completely wet. I think it's after that scene. I think he does get away, and they haven't captured him yet. And again, we'll see why as we get further into the trailer. But okay, so he's on the run now, and he says, come on, be honest with me. How fast do you think you can get that thing to go without killing it? Oh my goodness, hilarious. This scene cracks me up. Only one way to find out, says Venom. So cool. Look at this thing. It's just nasty. This nasty Venom horse. And then, of course, they take off riding the horse. This so much reminded me of the first Ghost Rider movie when they turned the horse into fire. That was such a cool scene, and I suspect this will be even cooler. All right, so then this doesn't look like fun, though. Jumping off a cliff, and poor Eddie's flying through the air, but, of course, the Venom horse saves him and pulls him down. So, love it. Then he says, we may not be able to make it out of this alive. So I don't know if this is before or after the horse, but you notice he's still got the shirt. He still looks kind of wet. Maybe he's drying now. Maybe the shirt's drying off slowly. Then at some point, he does get picked up by hitchhikers. And notice his shirt, again, looks, is that sweat or is it the water? It's hard to tell the exact chronology here. But he's still on the run, I believe, and runs into these dudes. Now, first of all, why, Sony? Why did you use the same actor that played the lizard in the Andrew Garfield movies? They're just messing with us, I think. Tell me your theories, but I do not think that's Kurt Connors with his two arms back somehow. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. But I'll also point out, this kid has been the source of so many rumors and such on the internet. I don't get into that stuff, but if you want to Google 10-year-old kid in the the Last Dance trailer, you can find out all the crazy rumors out there. I think it's just a 10-year-old kid. I don't subscribe to any of them. I think they're crazy, and it's all conspiracy stuff. But nonetheless, that's okay. Rumors are fun, right? Anyway, I think it's just a 10-year-old kid. But we will see him showing up again later. All right, so at some point, Venom decides to take a flight. Interesting way to fly, right? And then I think this has got to be an homage to something, right? Where he looks in the window and scares the lady. I think it's the Twilight Zone episode. I mean, that is such a famous episode. And William Shatner of all things. But anyway, that's kind of cute. But then this creature attacks. Now, is this one of the symbiotes from the Life Foundation? I don't think so. I think this is one of the symbiotes coming from outer space to attack, because he just looks really, really nasty. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think this is? But my guess is this is some of the symbiotes coming after Venom. And then you can see the tentacles there, and you'll see the same creature showing up a lot of times throughout. So now, I think maybe the airplane flight was to go to Vegas. Just a guess, but Here's the real key. I don't think Eddie's been captured yet by the Life Foundation because he's walking around in his tux, right? And we're going to see this tux showing up in what I believe lead into the final battles. I really think the outfit he's wearing helps us place the chronology. But also, let me just say, doesn't he look good in a tux? Wouldn't he have made a good James Bond? Did they totally miss out by not making him Bond? I think so. I think he'd have been fantastic. But anyway, while he's in Vegas, he sees Mrs. Chen. I love it. Good old Mrs. Chen. Of course, we saw her in the earlier Venom movies and also, as I mentioned, in the Spider-Verse movie when Spot shows up and has a little chat with her. So nothing surprises Mrs. Chen. Although, does this surprise her? This was unexpected, her having a nice dance with Venom. I'm kind of guessing this is a dream sequence. She knows she has no glasses on, but who knows? Maybe not. This could actually be happening. It is a Venom movie. Expect anything. All right, so now I think he gets captured because notice he's wearing that tux, or at least part of it. He's taken off the jacket. And so now I think in all of these final scenes, we're going to see him in that tux, and he looks like he's definitely in a containment unit. All right. Have they also captured that nastiness that was on the airplane? Probably, I guess. Or if it's actually a Life Foundation member, one of the symbiotes, that's possible what's going on here too. But it seems very upset with everyone. So then, okay, now we see Eddie still in the tux. Notice the white shirt in a helicopter. Seems very despondent about something, but I don't think it's the same helicopter we see in an earlier scene with that nasty creature again, right? Chasing after everyone. You can see its tentacles there. Remember the tentacles it had earlier on the airplane? It manages to crash the helicopter into the car here and blow it up. We also see Eddie running from an explosion. I don't think it's the same explosion as this. Could be, though. Could be, but notice he's wearing, again, the white shirt. And then, hey, look, it's that kid again. Again, I think it's just a kid. It's just a random kid. But Google it if you want to see the crazy, ideas out there. All ideas are fine. I don't mean crazy, like I'm not knocking someone for saying the idea is out there. I just mean it's a really crazy idea. Anyway, notice the family. They're standing against this metal railing here, and I'm pretty sure that's them when it tips over. And there's Tom Hardy again with his white shirt, and boy, that doesn't look good. How are they going to get saved out of this? And why is he not turning into Venom? Has he been separated from Venom at this point? Interesting question, but I can't wait to see how they get saved here. Now, we do see Venom in what looks like a containment unit. They're firing at him. He breaks out, and they continue firing at him. And, he doesn't look happy. So I'm guessing this is him on Eddie again, although who knows, right? It's so hard to say. So I've tried my best to put this in what I think is the order. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think I got it right? Do you think this is part of the final boss battle here? And what do you think about it overall? I think it looks really good. I'm actually kind of excited to see this movie. I wasn't sure what to think, but I'm kind of excited. And what do you think the final rating is going to be? I mean, normally they put this film is not yet rated, and we all know, come on, it's PG-13, stop it. This might be R. I mean, they're doing Craven R. Could this be R? And would that change your opinion of the movie at all if it was R? Very interesting. All right, it'll be out before you know it. Cannot wait. So don't forget, June contest. Be a subscriber, leave a comment, win a book or a steel book. And of course, there's that membership option if you're interested in that. And we do have a Discord. Here you can see us talking all about the Venom trailer. And so we'd love to have you join. 1,300 members across the globe. Conversations 24/7. We want you to be part of it. I will leave a pinned comment so you can join if you'd like. Also, if you don't mind, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out more content, and we'll all continue to enjoy the ever-growing, ever-changing Marvel Cinematic Universe.